Welcome in, everyone. If you love to learn and, just gain new perspectives on things, you are definitely in for a treat today.
Oh, absolutely. It's a really good one today.
Yeah, we are doing a deep dive into some translated excerpts from a really fascinating essay. It's by Sweefing, and it's titled The Noble Rarely Appear.
Which is such a great title, by the way.
It really is. And, it starts off as this super vivid nature journal. He chronicles these three fleeting, just almost mathematically impossible animal sightings in Africa.
Right, but then he pivots.
Exactly. He
Yeah.
pivots into this profound philosophical framework about value and visibility and destiny. And our mission today is to trace that exact pivot.
Yeah, we really want to explore how just like a few seconds of eye contact with a hidden creature in the jungle can totally dismantle this modern assumption we have.
The assumption that visibility equals worth.
Exactly. That if something is valuable, it has to be loud and visible.
So, by the end of this deep dive, you might find yourself fundamentally rethinking the relationship between the loud, highly advertised things in your life versus, well, the quiet ones.
I mean, the author grounds this entire philosophy in highly specific physical evidence. To really understand his conclusions about human value, we have to look closely at the environments where these encounters actually happen.
Yeah, because we aren't looking at a curated zoo here.
No, not at all, or a planned safari.
Okay.
We are looking at the stark contrast between heavy, mundane human labor and this sudden, totally unearned intrusion of the majestic.
I noticed that pattern immediately when I was reading. Like, the text doesn't walk us through these events like a neat chronological timeline.
Yeah, it's more like a recurring theme.
Exactly, a thematic collision across decades. So let's take the first encounter. It's March of 1994.
Okay, yeah.
The author is deep in the Kreokiol area that's in Zimbabwe's Matabele North Province. And he's just driving a pickup truck down this abandoned path in the jungle.
He's just doing his job, basically.
Right. He reaches a small hill, cuts the engine, and is preparing to just step out.
And the sensory shift right there is critical.
Mm.
I mean, think about it. The mechanical noise of the truck engine dies, all that heavy machinery is turned off, and in that sudden silence, he looks up.
And standing right there on the hill is a white deer.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah. And they lock eyes. It's this mutual gaze, but it lasts for just a few seconds before the deer flashes into the dense forest.
Just a few seconds.
Right. So he jumps out, he searches frantically, but it's completely gone. And here is where I sort of formed a hypothesis about the text.
Oh, let's hear it.
So he asks the local villagers about the white deer, and they say they've never seen one.
Right.
Then he tells his colleagues, and they flat out reject his reality. They tell him, nonsense, there are no white deer.
They don't even entertain the idea.
Exactly. And to me, that collective disbelief is the actual core of the story. It proves this wasn't just some rare biological specimen.
It was an exclusive revelation.
Yes. The deer is actively evading the collective gaze. Okay, let's unpack this for a second. It's like witnessing a glitch in the matrix.
A glitch in the matrix. I like that.
Yeah, you see something mathematically impossible, but when you look around for validation, the evidence is gone. So why do you think the disbelief of the colleagues and locals is so important to his overall point?
Well, your hypothesis aligns perfectly with his trajectory. I mean, if the white deer were visible to everyone, it would just be part of the scenery.
Right, it would just be another animal in the jungle.
Exactly. The colleagues' denial, their insistence that such a thing cannot exist simply because they haven't seen it themselves, it really highlights a profound human arrogance.
No, that's a great point. We kind of think we know everything.
We do. We assume that if something holds value or exists in our environment, it must be readily available for our consumption.
Like it owes us an appearance.
Yeah, exactly. So the deer's evasion demonstrates that the truly extraordinary operates outside of our standard operating procedures.
And we see that same collision between mundane labor and exclusive revelation about a year later. This is in August 1995.
And the physical environment this time is even harsher.
Much harsher. He is on a cold riverbank doing the repetitive, heavy manual labor of drilling a well.
It's a completely grounded, earthbound activity. You are literally staring into the dirt, forcing steel into rock.
Yeah, and from that posture of just looking down at the mud, the extraordinary drops from the sky.
Literally drops from the sky.
3 cranes descend and land just 30 meters from the drill site. And he provides these hyper-specific visual details that make the moment feel so tangible.
He really does.
Gray bodies, long necks that transition to white at the head, Vivid red crowns, red claws, two are large, one is small.
The detail is incredible. And again, we have local witnesses here.
Right, two Zimbabwean workers are right there at the well with him.
And they are natives of this land, yet they confirm it is the very first time they have ever laid eyes on this specific bird.
It's just wild.
It is. The author's basically drawing a map for us. He experiences this isolated anomaly in the deep jungle, and then another isolated anomaly on a cold riverbank.
But the map expands beyond Africa, doesn't it?
It does. Seeing those specific red-crowned cranes at the well site, it triggers a memory from 3 decades earlier.
Oh, right, the 1964 story.
Yeah. In 1964, while he was herding sheep near the Yellow River in China, he saw 2 of these exact same cranes.
And the cultural layer he adds to that 1964 memory is just fascinating.
It totally shifts the perspective.
Back at the Yellow River, the local elders told him that seeing these cranes is this incredibly rare omen.
Good luck, right?
More than just good luck. The promise was that whoever witnesses them receives profound luck and is destined for great financial prosperity.
Which is so interesting because the elders are applying a very traditional, almost human-centric metric of value to the natural world.
Yeah, tying nature to money.
Exactly. They're suggesting a transactional relationship with rarity. Like, you witness the majestic, therefore the universe owes you material wealth.
But the author handles that transactional promise brilliantly. He drops in this deeply self-deprecating aside that honestly made me laugh.
Oh, about his own wealth.
Yes. He notes that between the 1964 sighting and the 1995 well drilling incident, he has actually seen 5 of these supposedly wealth-bringing cranes in his lifetime.
5 of them.
And he writes, I have now seen 5 of them, but still haven't struck it rich.
I love that. It totally undercuts the human tendency to try and extract immediate material ROI from a spiritual or extraordinary experience.
The ROI from a bird sighting.
Right. The universe does not operate like a vending machine where a rare sighting goes in and, fiat currency comes out.
But I wonder, I want to push back on this a little bit. What if the elders' definition of prosperity was just lost in translation over the years?
How do you mean?
Well, if the author is sitting there tallying his bank account and saying, I'm still not rich, maybe the wealth being offered isn't financial.
Oh, that's a really compelling thought.
Right. Maybe he's overlooking the actual capital he's accumulated. The wealth isn't the money. The wealth is the fact that his life is continually punctuated by these impossible, majestic moments.
He has a monopoly on these experiences that his colleagues and the locals just don't possess.
Exactly. A monopoly on awe.
A monopoly on awe. That is a really profound way to redefine wealth. The continuous expansion of his understanding is the actual prosperity.
And that becomes undeniable when we look at the final encounter he documents.
Yeah, because this one moves the phenomenon entirely out of the wild and into the domestic sphere.
Right, to his backyard.
Exactly. It's February 2003, 6:20 a.m. in the backyard of his own residence on Pendennis Road in Herrera.
And he makes a very deliberate point to establish his own baseline reality here. He notes that he has lived in this specific house for 8 years.
He knows his environment.
Completely. He is a practiced bird watcher. He frequents local bird parks. He knows dozens of species. He is effectively an expert on his immediate surroundings.
But despite having total mastery over the baseline of his daily reality, the extraordinary slips through the cracks of the mundane once again.
Just right in his own yard.
Yeah, a bird slightly larger than a sparrow appears. It has a green head, a black body, and a vividly contrasting 25-centimeter long red tail.
A tail that is essentially a foot long on a tiny bird.
It must have looked absolutely unreal, like a flying jewel or something.
Right. And the defining characteristic of this encounter, just like the deer and the cranes, is the brevity.
Always the brevity.
It perches in the treetops for a mere 10 seconds and then vanishes.
10 seconds in 2003. A momentary descent in 1995. A few seconds of eye contact in 1994. The brevity really is the unifying mechanism here.
They just don't stick around.
They do not linger. They do not allow themselves to be studied or captured or commodified by the observer. They assert their existence and immediately withdraw.
And the author uses those vanishing acts to build the central thesis of the essay. This is where he transitions from simply documenting animal sightings to asking what they signify about the architecture of value itself.
This is the pivot we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. He writes, quite bluntly, the white deer, cranes, and exotic birds signify that the noble do not easily reveal themselves.
And this is where the text demands we basically reevaluate everything we know about human society.
How so?
Well, he maps the behavior of these rare animals directly onto human hierarchies and material goods.
Oh, right, the analogies he uses.
Yeah, he points to the Emperor of Japan, noting that his nobility is precisely why he seldom appears in public. He points to diamonds, highlighting that their immense value is directly tied to the fact that they are buried deep within the earth.
They require massive effort to extract.
Exactly.
And he also extends this to wisdom and intellectual value, doesn't he?
He does. He says the true masters, the reclusive mountain hermits, they do not emerge easily from their isolation.
Even on a purely domestic level, he notes that if a household possesses a truly extraordinary treasure like an artifact of infinite value, they keep it hidden from the market.
Right. He writes, those who readily display themselves are not truly noble. He is proposing a direct inverse relationship between visibility and intrinsic worth.
So the more visible you are, the less valuable you are.
According to this text, yes. The universe is teeming with undiscovered rarity. Wise sages and immortals are out there, hiding like, as he puts it, dragons and tigers lying in wait.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for you, the listener. Because in modern society, we operate on the exact opposite principle.
Oh, completely.
We live in a world where everyone puts their treasures, their achievements, their talents right in the front window for everyone to see,
Personal branding, constant networking.
broadcasting every single thought.
Hmm.
But this text argues the exact opposite, which makes me wonder, does the act of displaying something actually drain its value, or is it just that inherently valuable things naturally protect themselves by hiding?
That's the core question. Think about agricultural science. There is this concept called soil depletion.
Right, if you overfarm a piece of land.
Exactly. If you force it to constantly produce without letting it rest in the quiet and the dark, you strip it of its
The
nutrients.
soil just turns into dead, arid dirt.
Right. And you can read this text as an argument that constant visibility acts the exact same way on our intrinsic value. The act of display degrades the worth. Value requires a depth of context that fleeting mass market consumption simply strips away.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, when a sage broadcasts their wisdom to an unready, massive audience, the wisdom doesn't elevate the audience.
The audience brings it down.
Basically, the audience's lack of context flattens the wisdom into noise.
Yeah.
So the hiding, the evasion we saw with the white deer, it's a protective filter. True wisdom, perfect beauty, pure nobility, they cannot survive the constant friction of everyday interaction.
So the deer hiding in the forest isn't an insult to the driver of the pickup truck. It is the preservation of the sacred.
Yes, beautifully put.
The friction of discovery, like the effort required to find the diamond deep in the earth, is actually what confirms the value of the diamond.
If the diamond were sitting on the surface, ready to be picked up by anyone walking by, it would hold the same value as gravel. The barrier to entry protects the nobility of the object.
Okay, but that concept introduces a rather massive problem for all of us driving our metaphorical pickup trucks and drilling our daily wells.
I was wondering when we'd get to this.
Right. If the white deer, the dragons, the true sages, and the deepest wisdom are all actively hiding behind these protective barriers, how do we ever engage with them? I mean, you can't just hack your way into finding a white deer through sheer willpower.
No, you definitely can't. Encountering the noble is not a matter of aggressive pursuit, and the author turns to a series of traditional proverbs to explain the specific rules of engagement here.
The rules for how the extraordinary interacts with the ordinary.
Exactly. He writes, wise ministers choose their lord, while virtuous birds select their tree for perching.
Virtuous birds select their tree for perching, so the agency belongs entirely to the bird.
Exactly. The tree doesn't catch the bird. The tree simply exists in a state that the bird finds worthy.
And he reinforces this dynamic with geographical boundaries, too. Like, tigers do not descend upon plains, and horses do not venture deep into mountains.
Noble entities have specific domains where they are aligned, and they refuse to compromise that alignment. If you want to encounter the tiger, you must leave the comfort of the plains.
And the text pushes that idea even further regarding what is required to attract the extraordinary. He quotes the proverb, "The phoenix does not land in a place devoid of treasures."
That one is key.
The phoenix is actively looking to touch down. It wants to land, but it demands an environment that matches its own intrinsic value.
So when you synthesize these proverbs, it reveals that encountering the noble requires a delicate balance of two forces, destiny and cultivation.
Destiny and cultivation.
Yes. The author states plainly that without destiny, it is difficult to encounter extraordinary experiences. You cannot force the cranes to descend from the sky while you are drilling a well.
The timing belongs to the universe.
Right. However, your responsibility is the cultivation of the environment. You must make yourself the right tree for the virtuous bird.
You cannot command the phoenix to appear, but if your life is devoid of internal treasures, you guarantee the phoenix will fly right past you.
Absolutely. And the author introduces one final proverb to explain why so many people fail to cultivate that environment.
Why they miss the extraordinary even when it's right there.
Exactly. He writes, blinded by a single leaf, one cannot see Mount Tai.
Wow. The physical scale of that image is just staggering.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it?
It does. Mount Tai is a massive, historically sacred peak. It has stood for millennia. And a leaf is a fragile, millimeter-thin piece of organic matter. Yet if you place that tiny leaf directly against your cornea, it entirely obliterates the mountain.
Because proximity dictates reality.
Exactly. So what is the leaf in this context?
The leaf is anything that occupies our immediate focus to the exclusion of deeper truths. For the author's colleagues in Zimbabwe, their single leaf was their own rigid expectation of how the world operates.
They had already decided what could and could not exist in the jungle.
Right, and that arrogance blinded them to the possibility of the white deer.
I feel like we all have our own variations of that leaf.
Oh, for sure.
It might be an obsession with being seen and validated by others on social media. It might be a petty grievance at work or a rigid attachment to a specific career outcome.
Yep, those are all leaves.
And when you press those immediate anxieties right up against your eye, you cannot see the massive ancient truths standing right in front of you.
Removing the leaf requires the ego to step back.
It really does.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, the listener, directly. What is the single leaf in your own life that is currently blinding you from seeing the massive Mount Tai right in front of you?
That's a great question to reflect on, because stepping back allows the landscape to actually reveal itself.
It's been quite a journey today.
It really has. I mean, we started this analysis with a mysterious white deer in a Zimbabwean jungle, and we have unpacked a comprehensive framework for interacting with the world.
A completely different way to look at value.
The defining takeaway is that true nobility, whether that's manifested in a person, a philosophical truth, or a rare experience, it never begs for attention.
It does not spin a sign on the sidewalk.
Exactly. And I think for you, the listener, in an era dominated by absolute information overload, where everything is screaming for your immediate focus, this text offers a deeply comforting recalibration.
It's so true. The most valuable knowledge you will ever encounter and the most profoundly impactful people you will ever meet might be the quietest forces in your life.
But recognizing them requires a deliberate withdrawal from the noise. It requires the patience to let the soil rest, the humility to remove the leaf from your eye, and a deep trust in the timing of destiny.
It demands that we stop staring exclusively at the floodlights and begin paying rigorous attention to the quiet, dark spaces in between.
Because that is where the dragons are lying in wait.
Which brings us back to the agency of the virtuous bird selecting its tree and the phoenix demanding a place of treasure. I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over.
Oh, lay it on us.
If the rare, the noble, and the valuable only reveal themselves to the worthy and in the right environment, what kind of environment are you cultivating in your own mind and life?
That's the ultimate question.
Right. Are you creating a loud, depleted, over-farmed space, desperate for external validation? Or are you slowly, quietly accumulating the kind of internal treasure that would make the phoenix actually choose to land?
Something to really think about.
Definitely think on that. Keep an eye out for the quiet things in your life. And thank you so much for joining us. We will catch you on the next deep dive.
Thanks for listening, everyone.